All right, this how's it sound? Are we sounding okay? Do we? Are we? All right, this how's it sound? Okay, I got you. All right, that's good. So y'all, please, in all areas of apologies that you will accept and understand when it comes to technical difficulties, when it comes to everything that it takes to have an operation going. It's this right here. I'm gonna tell you something, and I want you to understand if you're ever doing anything of significance, if you're ever going to do anything of purpose, check this out. Here's just a few things that you're going to have to, if you think like I do, and that's probably maybe one or two people in this whole wide world. But listen to me, check this out. If you ever want to get things done, all right, take it from somebody who's been down through there and have tried to do the best and work with what you have, even when you're with my own limited abilities. Um, I just can't get it all together. I'm just gonna say it like that because I have tried and tried and tried to see how we can do this. But let me tell you this: you're gonna see my face here in a minute. As soon as oh man, isn't that something? Yes, there we go. We thank God though that even though it says technical difficulties, we're going to try to go on because what I'm doing here is we had this mobile institute and now we're going to run it. And my plan was to hopefully talk to some people who had participated. You don't understand how blessed we were to have all those people who participated. And even right now, as we try to get this mobile institute cranked to the public, um, it was a great thing. It was a blessing. The dialogue we had, and it taught me a thing or two that sometimes that you're not aware of because you don't see it. Now, let me explain something to you. This is going to be about 48 minutes of a public address. And for me, anything that I do, I want to do it the best that I can. And sometimes, even when you're facing your own challenges in life, just trying to walk and stay on the righteous road, I'll say. There are distractions coming, but let me tell you something. In this process, and I'm going to throw some names out there because all I'm doing is giving them credit for how they really just came on, and they I can't tell you the amount of respect that I have for people like Dominique Tharp, that I've known all my life, even since we was kids, used to play together as little kids. He came and he really, and I'm not saying that just the part that he played and came in and did even more. We had some people who were able to come and great people. But for whatever reason, I had a couple who was in transition doing things, and they just simply could not participate. And then I had some that just didn't work out. But however, even the ones who came and they had to go for whatever reason, they were a blessing. And I'm going to tell you something. You cannot mistake the power of numbers. Did you hear what I said? There are power in numbers. And when you have people who are willing to see a better world, a better place, and even those people who are in charge in those positions that I been very critical of, depending on what the situation. I can't. Some people can do it, not me. I cannot go and badmouth people who are not doing anything worthy of bad. You got some people who can just make up a lie, and I would not lie on public officials when I think in this case we had so much great participation. The directors of schools, very nice ladies, welcomed me in, and it was a blessing. The sheriff, I appreciate and I thank the dialogue that him and El Ray and Elder Travis had, and El Ray even told me that he seen the sheriff out in the community, and that's a blessing. Because if you have a sheriff, you want to have somebody that's a man of their words, and I appreciate Sheriff Fry for doing this, and then the two judges that I could always be so grateful for, because they have a rough load, and they took the time to come. So I was so grateful. You're gonna see, and then you can be the judge. This address is simply what I was asked to curate from Dr. Teresa Smallwood, and I really appreciate her. I can't say enough about how I appreciate her, because listen, I don't take anything for granted. She could have got anybody to do this, and she asked me, and I was grateful. Could be a little different, but I believe in going straight to the source, because we can sit and talk about it all day, but when we don't have people who are willing to take action in their own victory, there's something really wrong with that. And I say a lot of things, but I do wonder sometimes, do you believe that one day that you will die? And I'm not talking about heaven or hell. I'm only saying that what type of life, all of us make mistakes. I don't care who you are, but what type of life do you want to leave? I've done a lot of crazy things in my life. Being young, I think some people act in ways that are immature. But as I get older and I have seen my own kids and trying to develop a conversation with them to bring awareness, because whether you believe it or not, 20 years, this last generation, every generation is different. There are other things that are introduced into society. Music is different. Everything is different. And I think in order to be able to be relevant and effective in the world, you have to be able to get along with people, even if you don't agree. And the God I serve was always ready for reconciliation, dealt with the issues, and people don't like you when you deal with the issues, and that's okay. But who do you leave your name to? Are you going to be known as somebody who did nothing for nobody but yourself? Are you going to be known for people who didn't mind stretching out there? Because I have not always tried to do right. There's some people now that ought to not even worry, as long as you know that you're doing your best, the best you can by God. Because there are some people who don't even try to do right. At least you struggle with it. But I'm so grateful and thankful for this Mobile Institute. I have caught all kinds of technical bugs trying to get here, but I'm going to try this. And we're going to play this for the next 4 or 5, all of October. We'll be doing the Paris-based Mobile Institute. We'll start with this keynote address. Then we'll have the directors of schools. Then we'll have the sheriff. And then we'll talk to the judges. So for 4 weeks, we'll be playing this every Wednesday night on Bible study, so people can see exactly what took on in Paris and Henry County. It took a little while to release, because I wanted to make sure that I don't want to release stuff and not have anybody's, especially when you're in positions like this. Some people don't understand, when you have really got to be careful that you understand, and all that getting, you got to get an understanding. And there's just some things that you just can't do. It makes no sense to have a person who speaks another language than you do, another tongue. It makes no sense to send somebody over there to try to understand what they're saying, and they don't speak the language. Head movement and all that might get you so far, but you need somebody who can speak the language. So it makes no sense for language to try to talk to a B language if they can't communicate. So this is all about bringing awareness. This wasn't a movement. This was not anything to where we was going to try to fuss at anybody, just to bring awareness. There always have to be conversations, because the minute that you are talking to somebody and all conversation shuts down and they want to stop all conversation, that's the minute you know something is wrong. There ought to not ever be a conversation shut down when it comes to people who are suffering. And I'm grateful. I'm going to get off here because this thing is about 45 minutes. I ask that you please, I will not be live after this, but I will be live, but I will go back and look at your comments, and I will answer the questions as I can. But we really need, we really would like for you to really check out this Mobile Institute and see. Now, here's what I want to say, because everybody has an opinion, okay? If you are a fair-minded individual and you have a set of morals and values that are driven by principles, I'll say, this is not about who's on this side and who's on this side. This is about about bringing awareness all over the country. These conversations are had. Ours was entitled "The Racism as a Public Health Issue Displays Itself in Many Ways." But what we wanted to focus on was one subject. So it displays itself in many ways, but we do know one way is in the systems. We have this whole school to prison pipeline, and it's this to where it has been studied. Michelle Alexander does a wonderful job in the book. So I said to Elder Travis, and I thank Elder Travis so much, Miss Lynette, who done a lot of footwork. I can't say enough about Elder Travis, who's been in my ministry since. He might have been the one, when I really think about it, when I was 15 years old, to come and ask me to speak at his church. That was almost 30 years ago. And just to see that what the Lord has me doing today, I had to ask him, what did you see? Because I think at that time he'd just seen me throw somebody off his school bus. He was driving the bus, and the guy, he ended up being my best friend at one time in life, hit me on the back of the head because he thought I was checking out his girlfriend. And I played football at the time, and you're not going to hit me in the back of my head. I don't care who. The Jesus could have been a bus driver. He was separating us like Elder Travis did. But just to see that and then see something in me beyond what I could see, he really helped me, and I appreciate him. So many. Not only him, Sister Belinda Davis was a blessing. Sister Tanisha Dunlap. I talked about Dominique, that brother. I can't. I can't express enough how he was really informed, educated, and really made a difference. So many people. Yolanda Tyler, Kananya Tharp, Key Nanya Tharp. Who else was in there? Ray, my man, Ray McDougal was in there giving me, and that's stuff that you will never see, even like in our sermons. When we preach our sermons, most preachers who really get in there and try to argue and wrestle with the text, we don't have the time to talk about all that we have. I had people, so many people, Chris Dumas, so many people who helped in the background. Jenna Goggins, yes, Dr. Goggins used to pastor the Presbyterian Church right there in Paris. Jenna Goggins was there and helped out greatly. Who else? Dr. Ruth Ragavan, I hope I said that right, who is a pastor in this. She pastors, Dr. Ruth pastors the Presbyterian Church here in Murray, Kentucky. So I had some heavy people who was much smarter than I was, who blessed us and helped us put this together. John Dandridge, Dr. John Dandridge, and his wife, they was there. And I cannot take anything away from the work that people done. And they, even if some left and couldn't participate anymore, but they still done a good job. I am a person who really wants to see our children have something, because if you come from a long line of families who didn't leave anything, let me tell you something. can be hard when you start from scratch with nothing. I was one of those people who started. We didn't have much, and my dad died at a young age, and he was in the military. But you pretty much know if you had somebody in the military honorably discharged because of a health incident, you pretty much know how that works out. So I'm serious about being a productive member of society who doesn't matter if you're black or white, but especially if you're black, there's been some stuff that you just don't, that we don't have access to. My mother is about 70 years old. And, I remember growing up and mama being so serious about teaching us what was right. And she went to school her last year. There was the segregation to separate. There was the integration with the schools. And she had never had a brand new book, even at that time, but never even seen a brand new book. Who got to Henry County High School to think of those things. And if you're a person who don't care, I'm sorry that your heart just don't seem to care about human beings. But we're all human. And we all have feelings, and we all need to have the chance to live out this thing that some people call a lie. That's called freedom, life, liberty, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness. Is that it? So we all have that chance. I love my children like everybody loves theirs, and most people just want to have a decent time where they can have a nice job to be able to go and take their wife or their husbands or whoever they're connected to for their life partners to just enjoy life. Most people, that don't take much to make them happy. I'd be happy right now if I had my glasses, but I ran off and left them because I was in a hurry. It don't take much to make most people happy. So if you will, yes, I will inbox you, but just please give me a second. I will inbox you, or you can for certainly inbox me, because there should be a place where you can go to any one of those pages, the Greater Hope page, or even we have the real Reverend Davis Timothy, the real Reverend Davis Timothy, not the real Reverend Timothy Davis, but the email, or it's set up under the real Reverend Davis Timothy at gmail.com, or you can go to the Greater Hope. So you can always inbox me. I'm so easy to get along with, contrary to popular belief, but I really am. And sometimes even when things are not what I deem appropriate, listen, Jesus is always ready for reconciliation. What type of warriors do you have on the battlefield if they're not always ready for reconciliation? So I thank God for you. We will inbox and catch up with you, but please stay tuned, because I'm going to try to put this Mobile Institute, the keynote address, which was done by yours truly. I am a preacher, so y'all just give the preacher some mercies. I go up there and I just do what the Lord would have me to do. Sometimes it's better than others, but nonetheless, listen, when it's all said and done, God's will be done. So let me get off your screen. Y'all come on in here. And we're going to start the Mobile Institute. I am so proud of this. So God bless you. Tomorrow, not tomorrow, but next Wednesday, we will go ahead and we will be in the hands of the director of schools, Mr. Earl Kendall. Let me say that, because Mr. Earl Kendall, I don't know what happened, the reason why he couldn't get on, but I had to call him at the last minute when some folks dropped out on me, and he came in and he was ready. I've since then tried to contact him, and I'm going to try to contact him again and get him on a live so we can so you can see him. Mr. Kendall, I knew that when I called him, I should have called him one of the first people, but I didn't even think. And it was somebody who's wiser than me referred him, and I said, "Oh, I feel like a clown, because An educator? There's so many of our educators that was a Miss Dunlap, Mr. Kendall, and she is gone to be with the Lord. Coach Taylor. So many of those who have done live with me, and Sister Angie, they're just man, I'm telling you, I thank God for people like that who would take time and try to deposit into the next generation. And then that's all I have to ask you. Who do you leave your name to? Now, this is going to be about 46 minutes. So please, if you could watch everything that you can. And I tell you, technology will not defeat me today. I just had it up here going good on a laptop, which I never usually do. And what separates me from Hollywood actors and stuff, this stuff, I see people who seem like they are really, they ought to go out there and audition. But I'm not an actor. I'm a preacher. I'm not an Arsenio Hall, even though I love Arsenio Hall and his talk show. I'm not a Wayne Brady. This is real right here, and I'm not saying that they're not real, but I'm saying that this is real situation. And this is not take one, take two. I'm live, and mistake, no mistake, whatever it is. But here we go with the Mobile Institute keynote address by none other than the Reverend Timothy L. Davis II. All right, here we go. Oh, yes, but first, you're going to hear our wonderful choir, the Greater Hope Choir. They did a little music. They allowed them to do music. And here they are, right here. I really love you, yes I do. love you. Yes.
I really love you. Yes, I do. I really love you.
Amen. Amen. Thank y'all so much. The Greater Hope Choir. Come on, if you can, just give a little hand clap to God for the Greater Hope Choir. Thank them. And actually, that's just one. I can only see one. I thank you for taking your time out. And I do need to apologize to our church, but we have a study going on at this time. And cancel so we can do this because this is so important. And this tomorrow again, I'm grateful to have Dr. Smallwood here with us. First tomorrow, I'm so thankful for her and inviting me to Warwick this year in Paris to see what conversations all over the country. And I don't know what made her ask me, but I'm so indebted and grateful for this. I'm grateful. Then I need to go ahead and thank Vanderbilt Divinity School and Justice. The Public Theology and Racial Injustice Collaborative. And then all of the people of Henry County, all of you know that I'm so grateful to you. Listen, we could not have pulled this off without your time. We couldn't have pulled it off without your dedication. Some of you have been in meetings with me the whole way through, all week long. This week we have had meetings, and I can't express enough how grateful I am. Elder Travis, Coach Starr, Kendall came here on the lake, but he is working it out. Reverend Arnold, I see you there. And then all those who are in the community, Sister Yolanda Tyler, Kanaya Tharp, so many. I'm sorry. Jamil, go ahead and mute you. Go ahead and mute you. I'm sorry. I know I gave him the instruction to play silently, but we got some high-powered instruments there, so thank you. All right. So so many of you all in the community who we spoke with, who you just took your time and freely sharing. I know the honorariums that we passed on is not enough, but listen, I wanted to get input from the community. It was so important that we get the community's input. All of the two judges, the sheriff and the chief. I just got a message from the sheriff. He wanted me to call him, and I'll call him after this. And the directors of schools, they are just so excited and waiting, because what we need today is dialogue, critical thought that will try to open up some doors. And my comments to Dr. Smallwood and others is sometimes in these little counties that we live in these smaller towns, because there's so much that we're not privileged to in terms of education and information that we just do not see. We do not get, because we're not in those larger areas. I remember the first time I went to Nashville and seen some people sleeping under a bridge. I thought I was in a third world country, because we don't see that thing down here. But I promise you, if you're like Coach Tharp and Yolanda and so many of us who have left here and then come back, we'll see that, it's almost camouflage. So that was my remarks to Dr. Smallwood, because it happens. Now, one thing I've never understood is when we talk about jails and institutions, we always kind of, depending on what circle you're in, we look at people, we're better than them, and that's not the case at all. There's a wonderful book called Touch, written by Pastor Rudy Rasmus, when he deals with the situations from the bridge and the gap between the high ranks and the low ranks, if you will. And that's what I'm here to do. And I want to just briefly, I use heavily the book, the New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. When I was introduced to that book in college, I almost lost my mind. And I'll tell you why. It's hard to believe. And I selected that we would talk about and this project that we would do under the guiding principles of racism is a public health issue. And the question I got that surprised me, well, why is it a public health issue? Well, that's what we're going to explain. We're going to attempt to explain that this weekend and ask questions to the people who can really change things. In my mind, we can have a conversation, but it does zero good to have a conversation with people who can't change anything. We can run some ideas, but we need to talk to the people who can change everything. And also, I told somebody, it might have been the judge, that this is not a one-hit wonder right here. I'm not going anywhere until the Lord says something. And then I'm going to always, because I am a preacher called by God, always stand on what I believe God is, and that's a God of justice. Now, I'm thankful again. I must say that I have to thank Elder Travis, because he is wisdom, gave me my first opportunity, and he don't like me saying all that because he's not a man who wants rewards. But if it had not been for his guidance, and the very first one I called, then we wouldn't be as far as we are. So I have to, I'm not trying to act like all of this is me. Everything good that we have, but I got to give it to the community of Henry County and all of you who participated. So I thank him for that, because I am one who just tell it like it is, and then I get out of the way. And that's why I wanted to bring Michelle Alexander's book up that paints a good picture. You're talking about a scholar who has experience. She was a prosecutor turned defense attorney. And if you get a chance, please, I purchased this book from her. I got a chance to meet her and listen to one of her lectures. And just the passion that come out of people who are called to do this type of work. You can see it, you can hear it. I'm not the one who gets up in the morning and say, let me go see how I can make the authorities mad today. That, if the truth be told, that's not really what I choose to do. But when I see things that have happened in this city, in all over the world, I think God calls us to say something. One of the worst things in the world is if you have a voice and you use it to be quiet. Everybody has a voice, and I want to make sure that my voice is used for justice and for what God stands on. Who are you going to leave your legacy to, if there be one? Who are you going to leave your last name to? Who are you going to leave? Are you going to be like Methuselah? Methuselah is the oldest person in the Bible that we know of. And it says in one verse, Methuselah lived to be 900 and some odd years old and died. Did Methuselah do anything in life that was worth mentioning in 900 and something years? The oldest person who ever lived to be 900, and somebody who got a memory better than mine may know the exact number. But the point is, all of those years, and that's all that was said. It's obvious that it's obvious that Jesus did more than Methuselah, but they didn't live not even half the age. So who do you leave your name to? Who are you going to leave? Who are you going to help? So I wanted to get 3 generations, and I did, with the generation above me, our generation, and then we have a young man that's going to be on one of the panels, which is of that last generations. And every year I've noticed, every single year, and I want you to hear this, from the ones who are on this panel who are in their late 70s and early 80s, there's every generation, there's a little bit more or less patience, if you will. This next generation coming behind me and then the generation coming behind them. I've been fortunate to be on the Murray State campus to speak. And my wife and I have also been on a marriage panel because we've been married for a long time. And people want to know, young people want to know, how do you keep it together? And I said, well, she just does what I say. And y'all, you know I'm just joking. If you know my wife, you know I am just joking. It's the other way around. But we have been privy to go to places like that. And this is a generation coming that are baptizing people in hot tubs, if you will. Those little they used to look like wash tubs when I was growing up. They have no just as long as it's getting done, and in their mind, they believe that this is coming from God. The day of pretty pews and organized religion that we have, such as Greater Hope, is going to be out the door. And I think we need to start paying attention, because it's that raw, those raw emotions that's going to come forth and challenge the systems that are not fair for all people. And with that being said, I won't be much longer, but I think it's important to understand the reason why the title is Racism as a Public Health Issue. And then for this Paris and Henry County based Mobile Institute, I thought it would be important because it's a subject that I've studied and I've already know about it and familiar with it and experienced in it. And it displays itself within the three systems. Now, I thought the school system, because the first time I had ever heard of a pipeline that starts in the elementary schools and goes all the way till the prison, about 18 years old, is where they take the test scores of third grade Black boys, African-American boys, and that is how they determine how many prisons they're going to build. Now think about that. You can say, well, how in the world is that so? Well, the only way that you can really bring awareness, and that's what this is not a protest. I am not going to be in 94-degree heat. I'm not made of that stuff like Elder Travis and them was made of. I think it's necessary to protest. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, but we need a little bit more. We need anything you're called to do, make sure you do it. This is just an awareness. And this is the way I explained it to people in our church. And some of my people are listening now. There are things that happen in our church at the Greater Hope Church in Murray, Kentucky, that, listen, y'all, I will be the very last person to find out, because they know if Pastor Davis find out, and if it's not right, he's got something to say. I didn't think about it, but the Lord, it hit me like a ton of bricks on this awareness tip. And that's all we're doing. That's all Dr. Smallwood asked me to do, is to curate this is not a protest. We're just bringing awareness to a subject that can invoke critical thought and conversation, so doors can open to people who they don't normally open to. So I wanted to stress that. One thing that hit me like a ton of bricks is judges, police officers, sheriffs, and chiefs of police, and even lieutenants, and even the directors of schools are not there in the classroom every day. They're not there out in the streets with the police officers, and judges are certainly not. So there may be some things that happen, or that may have happened, that for some reason we can see with body cams and all of this technology, but without that, they may not see it. So we want to bring awareness to some of these things. This is not a place that we come and just gripe, because the approach is everything. I'm making a keynote address, but I'm wanting everybody to know exactly what I'm standing for and what this is. This is just an awareness. We're not going to be fussing. An approach is what the older generation left me with. Our approach is everything. I talked to 3 older generational people separately, and they all said the same thing without knowing that I was coming. I desire to have a heavy presence of the community, and not so much a. We need to be in reality. The problem I have with the world, the problem I have with the church is we all see this elephant in the room because he's so big over there, and he's so big that you can't even help but to see him, but you want to turn away, but you can still see him out of your peripheral. But nobody says anything. Nobody says anything about some of the things that are killing us every day. Nobody said, we just let it play in the distance. And I made a comment to my choir earlier, and my wife said, "Are you going to say that?" I said, well, yeah, I am today, because the time comes when we have to have some facts with some critical conversation with some community people who experience every day, and come together to see if we can make a difference. We've got to be aware. If my children are off somewhere doing something, and a lot of times that's when it's going to happen, because when the authority is there, everybody's on their best behavior. But you know how I live my life? I live my life as if my wife is there with me all the time, as if God is always watching. Because if I got stuff to say and I can't say it in front of my wife, I don't need to say it. If you got a partner and you say things that you wouldn't say in front of them, that is somebody there that you're attracted to, and that partner is not there, well, I ain't gonna say it. But if I'm by myself, I say it. That gets you in trouble in integrity. But a lot of times that's what happens in our world. I want to read this out of this book so I can let you know that this is not something that I just thought of. This is not something that that you get my opinion of. This is documented information that you can actually go back and look at and see for yourself. These are facts that that a scholar has examined and shows clearly what happens right here. And this devastates me. So if this is information that you have never heard, please come talk to me, and I will I'll do whatever I can to let you see that this is really happening. It happened to me. Yeah, you might be surprised, but I too, right out of high school, had a great job. As an assistant manager, thought I was somebody. Got to hanging with that crowd of people that there's some people you can't help, no matter how you try. So always remember that that's not Bible. That's the theology or the street from Timothy Davis. There's some people that you can't help, and no matter how you try. And if you hang with those people, some things are going to happen, and the results are not the way you want them. So yes, I did end up catching charges, and by the grace of God, because I wanted to be better than where I was, he took me from petty crime that could have ended, petty crime that could end up in the largest of court. He snatched me out of there, and I knew it wasn't nobody but the Lord, because I happened to be in a place where regular people don't go. I don't know how I do it, but I end up being in these rooms where people who are like me just normally don't get in. And that's why I say about being a man of God or a woman of God, you will, if you are really in tune with him, end up being in some places that people think you're not supposed to be. And that's only because you can make a difference. Don't ever discount your value. Listen to this. The impact of the drug war has been astounding. In the last 30 years, hear me again, 30 years, she says, the U.S. penal population exploded from around 300,000 to more than 2 million. 300,000 to more than 2 million, with drug convictions accounting for the majority of the increase. The United States now has the highest rate of incarceration in the world. And might I add to that, when I looked it up, do you not understand that the United States is only 5% of the entire population? Now, that's given on a poll that I seen that was done in 2017. So we are a very small percentage of the population, but we have more people incarcerated for non-violent crimes than anybody. Did you hear what I said? I said, we are only 5% of the population of the world, but we have more people incarcerated than some of those countries that have more people. When I heard that, I thought I was going to lose my mind, because how in the world do you have more people incarcerated and you're just a small percentage of the entire population of the world? That's a health issue. It's a health issue when you have concocted systems that come and focus attention on one side of the people. I don't care what you say. There's no way in the world that a country, the United States, I ain't talking about a continent, I'm talking about a country within a continent that has 5% of the population of the world, but it has over 2 million people, and more people than anybody else incarcerated. And what really got my attention in that, the 13th Amendment, I explained this to the community panels and the planning team that I work with. This is nothing that you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. All you got to do is just go and type in 13th Amendment. And the 13th Amendment says this, and I know it by heart now, I've done said it so much, that slavery or involuntary servitude, which means you can have a servant, but you got to pay him. Lord have mercy. Involuntary, by force, is abolished. This is the 13th Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. The 13th Amendment says slavery is abolished. Involuntary servitude is abolished unless, listen to me now, it is used for punishment as a crime. What does that mean? And Michelle Alexander does a wonderful job in her book of painting the picture. And when I heard that, I said, you know what? I'm nobody. I'm just a little old me. I guess I was 20-something years old when I heard that. And it made me angry, y'all, just to be honest with you, because I found out that with the numbers I gave you about the population, African Americans, Black people, Negroes, whatever you call it, are only 13.6% of the American population, but we represent Black men, African American men, Negro men represent over 40% of the prison population. Now, there's been a slight adjustment because I think when I first started looking at this, the second person might have been the white male. I'm not sure. But now I know, if you look it up, you can look it up right now, there are white females who are the number 2 as far as population of the America's prisons and jails. So Black men are number 1, over 40%. Let me tell you what that does. If the 13th Amendment of the Constitution is what governs, or is what we're supposed to follow as a government, if that's true, if that's still right, if they didn't take it out last night and that's still right, it means that you can become a slave if you commit a crime and if you're convicted, because it says slavery is abolished unless it's used for punishment as a crime, which means that when you go to jail and you're convicted, you become a slave again. They don't say that, but this is plain English, and people like me need to hear plain English. What that means is, and I'm almost finished, I'm going to lay out the map of this mobile institute, and then I'm gone. But what that means is, if you have over 40%, and check the facts out, I might be off one or two, but I promise you, it's in there. You don't have to take my word for it. Go check it out for yourself. 40%. What that means is the most people populated and who are filling up these jails that they're building are African-American male, which they are getting third-grade test scores. That's the pipeline. That means that everybody who is convicted, not just African-American males, but it says, it doesn't put a color on it, but we do know there's a color on the statistic of how many people are populating. So 13th Amendment, let me put it together. Slavery is abolished unless you're a criminal. Criminals, whoever's convicted, can be a good person who had made a mistake, probably was going to go on to be great in life, but because of this mistake, or because there was something illegal done. Not too long ago, there was a report that came out about a young man who was, and you can go look this up too. I'm not saying anything that's not true. These are facts, and you can go right after you hear me say it, please go look it up for yourself. But he tossed a plastic bag in a young man's car, and the young man says, "Hey, what was that? I'm filming you." And the officer said, "I'm filming you too." That type of stuff, according to this book, that's what was going on. Ronald Reagan, some of y'all are old enough to remember the president who was, in my opinion, old. He was real old, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't get his age, but I know he was old enough to have that disease, Alzheimer's. And he, at the end, I guess, couldn't, it was catching up with him, and his wife would have to, smooth things out. If you can remember, I was a kid, but I was starting to look at the news then. He put a mandate that the drug war, I mean, they was going to lock people up. Well, what happened, if you can remember, as the campaign took off, and our first black president is what some of you say, because he inhaled, or he said, "I never inhaled." We thought that was so cool that we had, we'll never have a black president, but there's Clinton, who's done a little bit of everything. And we said, well, that's our first black president. Def Comedy Jam took off making jokes, and the culture was just crazy about Clinton. But when everybody was crazy about him, I heard terms like super predator. I heard terms that would lock innocent people up and mess up families. That's the health issue for many generations. So Bill Clinton, their intelligence knew that if the Republican Party was popular because of this, we have to even do better. That's when these mandate sentence, listen, y'all, for non-violent crimes, no guns, no murders, no axe handles, no poisonous stuff to kill people, just non-violent crimes, and they would get convicted and sometimes spend their life over non-violent crimes. And you got murderers, I'm talking about real crazy people, doing heinous crimes and getting out. And here I am, because I had a quarter bag of reefers, I'm going to jail forever. Listen, that's the type of things that we have to bring awareness to. And we have to, from the community, it's kind of hard to, you have to be careful when you're getting information together, because even then, I'm sure I might have sounded somewhat upset. And it's not that I'm just upset, it's almost I'm disbelief that the numbers are there. And if we don't ever bring awareness to it, there's nothing that can be done about it in a peaceful manner. And that's why I thank God for Dr. Smallwood, who I'm really, really impressed as I did the research on her. I'm thankful for this opportunity. And I really hope that she is pleased with our attempt to get the community together, along with the government officials. Now, Elder Travis told me that he had did a little research of his own, and he says Pastor Davis, I looked at the Ohio the Mobile Institute, and their approach was nothing like yours. And I watched that too. I thought it was very good. And I said, yeah. I said, well, Dr. Smallwood said I had the authority to put it together. So I figured this would be the best way. And he was really, I believe, impressed with that. And not only him, but so many people were impressed with that, because I don't believe in just wasting my time. I got so much stuff to do, y'all. Y'all don't understand. I've got so much stuff going on in my church. My church, Deacon Washington, they canceled a book study that we're doing. It's an awesome book study. And I appreciate them for even coming on during this time, because I didn't ask them to cancel the book study, but they did. But I think this is so important, and it has nothing to do with me as a person, but I've got to leave here one day. I'm only 42, but one of these days I'm out of here, and I want to be like these elders who have embraced me. I want to be able to do things right. And I want to be able to speak truth to power. And I want to be able to worry about my kids, who one of my sons, big old fella like me, he's bigger than me now, because I'm getting older. I got to lose a little weight if I want to stay around a while. But he had a wreck, split a pole in two. If that's not enough to scare you, he runs up to this door. And some of you have heard this story. And before he can even get to the door, this lady comes out and she says, "Stop! I'm not helping you, young man. Can I help you? Would you like some water?" My grandma would have offered him something to eat, but she says, "Stop! I'm not helping you. I'm calling the police." You know, he could have been bleeding or anything. Thank God that he split that pole, and that's all that hurt, because the car was tore up as well, but he didn't have a scratch on his body. But when I heard that, I realized that thing could have went so many other ways. What if she'd have had a gun? What if she'd have really thought that because he's a big black man, what if she thought he was going to really hurt her? You know, we ran out there and everything was okay. But I told him, I said, "Son, this is all I'm trying to give you guys as you grow up. I want you to know the truth. And everybody that's walking around, it don't matter how he's a teddy bear, y'all. He ain't gonna hurt it. Some of y'all know my son. He's not gonna hurt anybody. He was raised right, you know, in a 2-parent home all his life. He don't know nothing about the projects like I do. He don't know nothing about going to jail. He was raised right. And just to see that, I think, got his attention. So that's all we're doing. We're bringing awareness. I'm going to let you go after I say this, but we got to remember that there is a God. And I'm sorry, but you give a preacher a mic, he got to say something about the Lord. There is a God, and he is a God of justice. I think about Tommy Lee Jones, the men who were in the Olympics, and they had black gloves with black fists, and they symbolized black, and they held their hands up, and they got so much flack from that. I mean, they even was threatened that they would be stripped of their gold and I think bronze, might have been gold and silver medals, death threats, and all of this stuff that they went through for us. If the question is ever asked, what did the next generation, we're not talking about personally, but what did they do for us? Reverend Otto Duncan said, and he's here with us right now. I don't think he minds, but he's been like a mentor to me. He's an 80-year-old man and still drives everywhere. I'm allowed to drive, and he'd be in Africa somewhere driving. I'd be like, wow. And he said, what did I do? I said, if the question is asked, what did the last generation do for us? And this hit me, and I love him so much, and I appreciate him for taking time and helping us with this. But he said, well, next time somebody asks you this, tell them this. Tell them I looked down the barrel of a gun and I didn't know whether my head was going to get blown off or not. That's what I did. And when you put that together along with others who have already played their part, steps might be a little slower and might not see as far as they used to, but they got information, and it's up to us, Dominique. It's up to us, Jamil. It's up to us, Yolanda, and all others who are under 50 and 60. It's up to us to make sure that we do something and play our part. We've had some situations that are just not right, and we're going to bring awareness. The only thing we can do right now is bring awareness. So I thank God for this. I'm not a long-winded anything, but I want to real quick. It won't take me long. In the morning, I'll send another link out tonight. I'm trying not to send too many links out because I've had some issues with people getting on the wrong link. So I want to space them out a little bit, no later than 8 o'clock in the morning. And I might do it tonight. I'm going to put the link up for our morning session. I will have the link up at 9:45. 9:45, it'll give everybody a chance to get in. And at 10 o'clock, we will be ready. The first voice you will hear, unless she changes it, will be that of Dr. Teresa Smallwood. And then we will be ready for our panels. Mr. Earl Kendall, who is a former and retired assistant superintendent of schools, he's going to be our presenter. And then I'm going to moderate that. Because we had some some stuff with scheduling that I had oversaw, and that was all my fault, and I apologize. So I will step in and moderate that, and Mr. Earl Kendall will be the presenter. We will have Dr. Leah Watkins and Dr. Norma Gerald. If somebody want to know what I thought of, I said, well, and I told Elder Travis, I said, if this is what we're going to talk about, I think we need to get the people. And I said, I think we need to get the judges. And he said, well, might as well get both of them if you're going to get one. I said, well, let's do it. And we've got, and that goes for county and the city side. So we have Dr. Leah Watkins, who is the superintendent. She is the county side. And then we have Dr. Norma Gerald, who is the superintendent, or let me correct myself, director of schools is what they are now. I think it's the same thing. So we're going to talk to them. I had a meeting. I called them, wrote them all letters, and I had a meeting, and it was such a great meeting. I was really, I was impressed, I'll say, at their warm reception, at their willingness to do this. They moved some stuff around for this. So let me tell, especially the people on the panel, that we need to make sure we're here, because this is normal working hours for them. But I wanted to go along with the guidelines that was already set. So we was able to do it, and they mixed some meetings around. So they're going to be here. And one thing I will not do, and that's waste people's time, because it's already hard enough getting these people, with their schedules in order. So we will be here at 9:45, and we will be ready. I've got dialogue back that they have sent. I'll send that out tonight. And then we'll have a 12 to 1 o'clock break if Greater Hope's Choir is available. And from that time, we will have a concert. They can come to you. I'm telling you, that church is the best choir on this side of heaven. I don't care what you say. You can't make me change my mind. But they will do a little concert from 12 to 1 if they're available. And then at 1 o'clock on the dot, 12:45, we're going to come back. And then we'll have the afternoon session with Sheriff Fry and Chief Randy Watkins. That's Watkins, not Watson. I said that at first. That was the guy on Coming to America, that Arsenio Hall. That was the preacher. No, that was the singer. Yeah. Not Randy Watson, Chief Randy Watkins. He's going to be here, hopefully. And I must say, for the record, him and I have not spoke at all, but I have spoke. I did ask the chief if he could. He said he had talked to him, and then he was going to relay the message. So that's going to be our afternoon. Now, we had to switch it a little bit because we was gonna have on that morning. I'm sorry, on that Friday morning, we was gonna have the sheriff. We're gonna have the judges, but one of the judges, circuit court judge, has a heavy load, and he told me that he wouldn't be available till the last day, and that's what we have to do. And then the general sessions judge was so grateful and so, I mean, just so nice to me, and I appreciate that. They will be here on that Saturday morning. That's correct. From 10 to 11. I mean, I'm sorry, from 10 to 12. And then we will have a talk back type of panel. That's not in depth. That's not for sure yet, because we're going to have a lot of talk back going on. I don't know if they are going to be able to attend, but we need to have some dialogue amongst the community, and we got a lot of things we're going to try to schedule later on, including we want to try to do a lot of things, and this will be something that I'm putting together along with everybody who will help. Which, when I'm talking about, the church has got to get with the streets, and that's not the best term, but we're all people. We've got to get together and come on one accord and make a good change. One of the worst things I read in the Bible, and I preached it last Sunday, is there was an invite, and I just told our choir this. The king sent out an invite, and I'm gone, y'all, after this. The king sent out an invite of people to come and have dining and have a meal with him. I preached this last Sunday. Listen to this. He sent out invitations, and when he saw that nobody come, he asked, "Did you send out the invitations?" I asked his servant that. And the servant said all of them did not, they didn't come. But here's what the Bible says. All of them, saddest thing I've heard, one of the saddest things, all of them came on one accord and made excuses. We usually relate one accord to, hey, we all got to come on one accord. Now, you never hear what we're coming on one accord for. But in this text, all came on one accord, Reverend Duncan, and made excuses. Listen, y'all, if we're going to come on one accord, we need to make sure that we're not making excuses of why we can't do this and why we can't do that. We've got the time is now. If we don't do something now, you might as well get ready for your great grandchildren to be singing Down by the Riverside, because if we don't do something now, it'll probably be never. Thank you. I'm not going to hold you much longer. I thank you for your participation. If any, Dr. Smallwood, would you have anything to say? If not, I won't. Okay. God bless you for being here. Thank you, everybody. Elder Travis, Reverend Duncan, Sister Tyler, Deacon Washington. Good to see you. Jamil and Devontae, thank y'all so much for showing up. I told you it was going to be all virtual. This is really neat. I have to give Dr. Smallwood her props on that. This is all mobile, and I explained to everybody. I said, do you know what Mobile Institute means? You know, I do that just to play. I know they don't know, and because I didn't know, I mean, it's not that I'm any smarter, but I didn't know what Mobile Institute was. I kind of figured it out until she shared it with me. And all it is now we're going through a second wave of this COVID-19, and everybody had to be put in a place where they had to communicate with their families right down the street in some instances by mobile device. So that's all this is. We are making a difference all over the world, us right here in Paris, Tennessee, through electronic means. It will get all over the country. If you ask me, that's how everybody gonna see Jesus when he come back. But I thank you for Dr. Smallwood for that thought. It's just a blessing. I'm going to leave you now. If you need me, please give me a call. This concludes it. Jamil and them can play a tune if they want until everybody leaves. I thank you again, 9:45 in the morning to the panelists, and everybody else will start at 10 o'clock. Whenever you get here, we're going to let you in. And I'm going to go ahead and mute you all so that we can hear from our moderator, we can hear from Dr. Smallwood, our moderator, and then the presenter, and then the government official. So thank you all. I love every one of you. Thank you for what you've done to make this Mobile Institute a success. God bless you. So easy. Thank y'all so much. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the morning. God bless you. All right, man, that was awesome. And I'm not saying it's awesome because I was a keynote address, just the whole feeling of just the whole thing that we did. And then after that, you'll see what I'm talking about in the next coming up weeks. If I do have any requests to go ahead and run it out and give me a day, because what we're trying to do is get everybody that can to see this. It was a blessing. I'm over an hour, and I'm getting ready to get out of here. But I need to name those people. One person that I forgot in the beginning was, but you heard it on here, was the Reverend Otto Duncan. Such a blessing to me. I love the older generation who, many of them, when you look at Reverend Duncan and Elder Travis, they get around better than some young folks. So certainly God has given them longevity for a reason. And I'm thankful. I'm so grateful. I hope that you got something out of that. I sent a message that said someone tried to call the church phone. Forgive us for that, because we're doing some arrangements. It's about that time that we have some what we call office hours. Let's not forget that our church, the Greater Hope Church, has a rich history of just being a good people. But not only that, there are still people here who believe in a Christ kind of ministry, the one that gave and met the needs of the people. If you are a so-called churchgoer, please understand that it's more to church than coming in a building and hearing a man or woman say a word and then leaving and never going to do anything else. We're an outward focused ministry, so we're focused on those who Jesus would focus on. Sometimes those who are marginalized, the left out. So I am blessed that we have those type of people who want to have a ministry that is biblical. It gets hard sometimes because sometimes there's not enough and we can only do what we can do. But there's no need for anybody to be suffering, especially in a situation where you have people who are working a 40-hour job and really just trying to take care of family. So my quest is to continue. There are some things that we are working with. There's another some more engagements, and I thank God for Dr. Smallwood again that we will get out there and continue these conversations. And then this next one, from just what I know so far, it is going to be a blessing. Did you know that there are people who are not even aware in their lives that there are these types of injustices going on? And you have people who will stand up. And if they don't have the if they're not in a place where they can do something, they will at least send something that will be a blessing, because we need real positive change. You never know what's going to happen in the world today, and that's why I can't say that there's not a need for penitentiaries, because I believe that there is. But even in that, if you think of a country in terms of the United States of America, which is 5% of the entire population, 5%. That means if you had 100 people, 5 of them would be in that category that we're talking about in terms wise, up under some type of racial oppression just because of what they look like. Some people have got to get up out of that, because you really show your hatred by what you say and by what you do. Please don't be that one who will run somebody away just because there's a misunderstanding. I think it was Escape who sung a wonderful song back in the day when I was in junior high school, and it says, "What I need from you is understanding." And if you don't have an understanding with the world in which you live in, if you don't have an understanding, you will have a big mess. And all that get yourself an understanding. All right, y'all pray for me, because I don't have any eyes. I probably need to stay put, but being still does not guarantee progress. I'll just say that. All right, so we're gonna get on off of here and finish up. Please pay it, if you could look at these. I know some people are of the respect. Oh, you look like the type of guy to talk about reparations. Listen, I'm talking about what's right in the sight of God. And you cannot be a person who says, "Well, I'm a child of God," but do things contrary to what that is. So listen, y'all, I'm sitting here watching. I'm so grateful for what God is blessing us here at Greater Hope. Listen, y'all, please listen to me when I say this, and I'm getting ready to go. But only ONLY. Did you hear what I said? Only what you do for Christ will ever last. I don't care what you do for your boyfriend or your girlfriend. Listen, let me say it like this. I don't care what happens in your life. Always remember that you want to have a Christ-centered attitude, and that you always want to do your very best in whatever it is that you do. Praise God for the increase. Praise God that He is going to be the one blessing. I see great things in our future. We want to get into talking about some other things that will help and not hurt. If you want to make a difference in the world, contact the Lord. Don't do anything before you contact the Lord. All right, y'all, Pastor Davis here. I'm getting ready to roll, making sure that everything is copacetic, and making sure that we do our very best. Does that make any sense to you? It makes all the sense in the world. Look, we're going to get out of here. You take care of yourself. Thank God that He is a God that will see about you in whatever shape that you are in. Don't let nobody tell you that God won't come see about you just because you're in a bad spot. Somebody's been deceived. God will come and see about you and put you in a place that you never thought that you would be. But once you get there, don't get there like some people I know talking about, did you see how grand I am? No, it's nothing that grand about any of us. The only reason why we are where we are is because of the strong and mighty hand of Big G, the Big G, double D. All right, y'all, I'm getting a yawn now. And LG, life is good. Oh, yes, it is. I tell you what looks kind of funny out here, though. Oh, yeah, that's it. Well, we praise God for that. All right, everybody, sisters and brothers, ladies and gentlemen, little boys and little girls, y'all take care of yourself, and we'll see you next time.